And we got a nice little Monday morning around here. What do we got going on? Oh, damn. They really just dropped the whole thing on us, huh? Welcome, folks. Today we're talking about Vanguard Dear Days, the brand new Vanguard Switch and Steam game that is coming out later this year. So we had the announcement of it last month, and then we haven't really heard much about the game since, outside of like some character introductions. But yesterday, Bouchard went and just dropped a lot of information for us to digest. And honestly, the game is looking pretty damn good. And because this game is coming out in both English and Japanese on the same day, they also put out all the information in English on the same website. Very good, very good. Thank you, Fudio, for finally giving in and allowing us to play your games in English. It is a great honor. Also, yeah, people have been saying that Fudio apparently is part of the developers of this game, although I don't really see that on the website. But looking at the UI and stuff, I'm not too surprised. So anyway, we're going to use the website to go over all the information that has come out, and then almost everything is in the English website, but there are some things like the trailer, as well as like the purchase bonuses from different stores that are only in Japan because, well, the purchase bonuses are specific to shops in Japan, right? So let's break it down. So first things first, I want to show you guys the trailer because this was the first thing that we saw before the website went live, and I think it gives you a good feel of the style of this game going into it. So we can actually just watch it here from the website, which is quite nice. So you can see the logo, then of course they show the UI, which again, you immediately see here that this is looking like a Fudio game. You know, you got the entire style of EX here, which we'll talk about a little bit more about in, later on. Just, this little type of damage is a little funny here. So you can see like the power and the crit and all that kind of stuff, the same as EX basically for the most part, just minus axle markers. And then, the cut-ins and like the over 1,000 cars and all those things that they've been using to advertise the game with, which are still as present as before. And then of course here we find out the release date, which was November 17th, which is really exciting. The game is coming out in just basically 4 months, but this is the day before Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So with that little concern out the way, we'll talk about that a bit more later in the video. Let's go to the English website and see what they say. So of course, immediately the first thing it greets you with is on sale Thursday, November 17th. So it is a global release on the same day, which is really exciting. And props to the people, the translators working hard to make sure we get this game in English on the same day, which I think is really, really cool. Although I personally would not have minded like a 1-week delay because of, obvious reasons. Let's go over the information that they posted up. So of course, first things first, they talk about the system, which of course it is it's the first Cardfight Vanguard digital game in English ever, which is really, really exciting. We've had, 4 games in Japanese before, but this is the first one in English, which is very exciting. So of course you can see from the screenshot that the UI is very EXE. The power, the deck, like everything about it is very EXE, even the fonts and like the menus are basically the same. So it is kind of a reskin of EX, just like with the addition of the Order Zone, no more Axle Circles, and of course the Ride deck as well. Then this being, most likely something that Fudio is working on also means that the game will probably not have like many bugs. They generally speaking polish their games quite well, whether it was the Vanguard games or the Buddy Fight games that they made. So I think overall, this should be a very pleasant experience. And honestly, I really liked the EX UI and like the whole battle system in EX. So it was quite fast and it was quite like, the pacing and the speed of it felt just right, so I do agree that like, why not just build on that, right, instead of like making something from scratch. And I think for Vanguard's game style, this also fits quite well, right? Like, Master Duel does look very cool and it's quite different in that it's kind of like this Hearthstone theme that they went for, but I'm kind of glad that Vanguard stuck with its roots of being this sort of like digitalized style that we've always kind of had. So they also say that this game is going to have over 1,000 cards from, standard only. So if you want to play V, you're going to have to play EX. And I want to maybe sit down and just like count how many cards we actually have if we look at all the D sets so far, including the collab boosters, because the collab boosters, I'm honestly not sure if they'll bring them in because of copyright issues, right? Like, I don't know, because Monster Strike doesn't exist in English, like, can you bring it over? Like, are they going to just not have the collab boosters in there? So that's going to be interesting. And of course, the game releasing on November 17th means that this will be after the release of set 7 and potentially even set 8. I can't remember if set 8 was November or December, but they could include that. Or, of course, they could also just do DLC, which I think is very, very important. Please do downloadable updates for future sets. They can be free and preferably free because even Konami made them free in games like Legacy of the Duelist. But if we have to pay like $1, I guess it's fine. But with this being already already like a paid for game, they can, I feel like the new cards they should make for free, but then when it comes to like if they do like DLC like characters and like skins and like sleeves and playmats, that I'm fine for being a paid cosmetic. But just please, if you're gonna do new card updates, either make new updates yourself or the community will just mod the shit out of the game on Steam and do that themselves. So then we can see, of course, the game is gonna have an original story, which we kind of already knew, so this isn't really gonna be much of like a Master Duel style game, it'll be more of a EX style game. So of course this is also very important because I have a bunch of friends from other games, like commentators from other games, like contacting me and going like, hey, I see Dear Days is coming out, is this gonna be a good way to get into the franchise? And I'm like, yeah, I hope so. But hear them saying like it's gonna have a good, easy to follow tutorial, I think is very good for people getting into Vanguard from other franchises, which I think is very cool. So yes, this is of course a big dub. We also see here Megumi in the corner, as we saw Danji up here as well, so some of the character portraits are looking pretty good. Then of course the most important part that made everyone on Twitter freak out is that of course online play is confirmed, which all of us I think mostly assume this. It'd be really weird to release a story only game without any online play. So of course this like battle screen looks really sick, but I just hope that when they do this, it's not just like EX where you had like an elo and then you went up or down on your elo and that was it, and you couldn't really tell who was #1 in ladder and who was at the bottom. I would really like them to actually do like a monthly resetting ladder system where like you get maybe exclusive sleeves for that month, and I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to just like maintain this game servers like that. So I hope that they take it seriously and don't just like drop online and go like, oh yeah, you can play against your friends, and then that's kind of it. Also, please have a spectator mode. That is very important because like spectating and saving replays so you can actually like submit them and look back at them. Any function that CFA has, this should also have. Otherwise you're not going to pull people off of CFA. And even then, this being standard only, of course, does not pull people away from CFA due to VN Premium being on there as well. But yeah, of course, this is really huge. You can play against people from around the world, which of course means that, you know, I think the Japanese and English versions will have the same card pool and be able to, you know, match in the same server, which I think is very good. And you know, them saying building decks is a breeze is good because this is a paid game, it's not a free game, which means no microtransactions, which is very good. I'm personally much happier paying $60 for a, you know, full priced game and not having to deal with microtransactions and like, sorry, microtransactions, I can't speak today, and like not having to worry about that kind of thing and just like building whatever decks I want and exploring the card pool as much as I want. And especially with this having the wheel dress boosters in it, I think is also very cool. So yes, big dub, very nice looking menu as well, so I'm a huge fan of this. And also of course when it comes to battles, like the OST in EX was really good, as well as like the character cut-ins for like the special rides and stuff like that, so hopefully they also keep it up with the amazing soundtrack that they made in the past for this game too. Then of course the game does have its own original story, which, you know, has characters designed by Akira Ito, which is the creator of the franchise, and the overdress characters also in here, so we can see of course Tomari, bless, very good. So it's gonna be nice because it'll be in English, which means we can actually follow the story very easily and people can actually enjoy it from outside of Japan too, which is super cool. And then of course the game will have its original cast and story, so this doesn't necessarily relate to the overdress anime story. It kind of has its own thing going on with its own original characters, like Yuki, our protagonist, her brother Rasen. Then we have, you know, Gosetsu, who is the shop owner here, and then of course we have Kanji Meguro, who is this dude with, you know, them fangs hanging over here. Good on him, good on him. They introduced some of the characters, you can look through these as well. Some pretty famous voice actors are doing a lot of these characters, which I think is really cool. Like Inoue Marina doing Rasen is super sick, so you can read through these characters if you want to and check out their portraits on the website. And of course the overdress characters are in here too, but this of course isn't everyone because we saw Megumi and Tomari in the menus, but I guess they'll just update this over time and show us the full cast of characters as we get closer to the release date. For the product info, you can see here the release date is November 17th, which again, why does it have to be the day before Pokemon? I feel like I'll talk about that later. It's a card game, you can have up to 2 players online, 1 player playing locally. Of course it's on Switch and Steam, which is very good. Huge props for the Steam release, Japanese and English, and the MSRP is going to be confirmed later on, because again, I really hope that this isn't going to be just like, yes, $50. I hope that this is going to be like regional pricing, especially for the Steam version. Like, don't charge 50 USD to a country where 50 USD is like weekly income. Obviously, like you want to do regional pricing based off of the places that you're selling the game in. So please price it according to that, because I think that that is going to help to promote this game way much more, and it's just a good thing. Like, it's honestly, it will reach people that normally have no access to the Vanguard franchise if it's affordable in every country and not just like 50 USD equivalent of that country's currency. So that's all we had on the English site. So let me quickly go to the Japanese one and show you what else was sticking out here. So outside of course the trailer, so once we scroll down past the stuff that we already know, they actually have, of course, again, the trailer, but you can also see here they have the Japanese price, which is 7,600 yen, which is about like 50, 60 bucks. Like, I think it's like 55 or something like that. So it's like the typical Switch game price. Like, I bought this over here, Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, and I paid about that same price, so it's literally like a Switch game price, which is not a big surprise, I would say. But again, please do regional pricing. I think that would be very, very nice, because this is a regional price for Japan. And then the other thing that isn't in here, in the English side, is that for the Switch version, there are promo cards that you get for ordering. So of course, if you get the physical Switch version, you get 3 promo cards, and people are expecting it to be like a Elemental Overtrigger plus like Trickstar and Verina maybe, which I think would make sense. I mean, those are definitely kind of like the flagship cards of the series, I suppose. But then depending on where you pre-order the Japanese version, you also get some extra bonuses. Like in Amazon, you get a special playmat, which I kind of want to order from Amazon because of that. Yummy, you get a Yu key holder. Gamers, you get a Mide microfiber cloth, which confirms Mide is in the game at least. You have a original deck holder if you order from Geo, which it's kind of cool. Softmap, Big Camera, and Kojima has a screw down, which like I think they oftentimes call these things screw down, so like the things you put cards into. So this would be actually quite cool if that's what it is. The Neo Wing has a like a bookmark for Yu, and then this place, Fami's, Medio, etc. has Ken badges, and then the Rakuten Books has more Ken badges, a set of 6, and then Wonder Goo has a wall scroll. So yeah, that's like all of the stuff that they showed on the website, so that's all the information we actually know for now. But there's still quite a few things that like I want them to announce, right? I want them to say there's a spectating mode, I want them to show more about the online play. It existing is very cool, but you can do a lot with it, and I want them to really expand on it and not just like drop it and let it be there. Because in terms of game content, like EX was packed with story, like there was so much to do in that game, and of course I'm pretty sure they will also be able to give us a huge story in this game too, although EX had like what, 4 story paths or something, because you had the main one and Aichi, Ren, and Kai. So I wonder if they're gonna explore that in this as well, of like doing like a Yu story, Mide story, etc., or if it's gonna be just the main character and that's it. But regardless, I'm very excited for the game. The release timing is still just a bit of an issue, because like I'm pretty sure it's not a surprise when I say that like for card gamers, a lot of us enjoy Pokemon. Like Pokemon is the most popular media franchise in the world, and releasing this game before Pokemon, like, you know, Scarlet Violet, it just seems weird when like you basically give people a day to play this game and then they're gonna play Pokemon, and some people can only afford to buy one game in a month or in a week, so they're gonna have to choose between this and Pokemon, and like the FOMO for Pokemon is much stronger than for Vanguard, and you know, as much as it pains me to say that. So it's like if they just released this game 1 week later, it would have been perfect, because by then people are done with the Pokemon story, and the only ones remaining are usually the ones like breeding and like, you know, getting shinies and playing competitive, whereas then after that people are looking for a new game to latch onto, and Vanguard would be like the perfect timing. But instead they do it the day before, so it feels like people will just maybe forget about the game because they're gonna be focusing on Pokemon, especially if this Pokemon game is good. So I have a lot of concerns when it comes to that, and I hope that, you know, like even for me, I will want to play Pokemon the next day too. I might not go ham on it and try to balance the 2 games on the side. You know, I'll just like try to do like a 24-hour stream of Dear Days when it releases, and then just like, you know, do a few hours a day basically after that, just like running through the story or like, you know, climbing ladder and stuff like that. But I don't really get the release timing. It feels weird when Pokemon's release timing is already out, and honestly, like they could have still changed it in my opinion. So yeah, that's like my only kind of like peeve right now. Like I feel like they could have done that a bit better. But other than that, I'm super hyped for the game. Like I'm gonna be going ham on it, gonna be playing crazy hours on it as usual, especially being on Steam means you can play it so easily. And I know a lot of people that want to get into the Vanguard franchise through this game as well, and I hope that they do a good job with the online ladder, because that is what's gonna dictate how long this game lasts. Please do updates. Please add additional cards and do additional booster packs and stuff, because that is how you prolong this game, because that's basically people's main reservation is like, if this game doesn't update past like Overdress set 7 or 8, then like what's the point? So I'm still personally very hyped. I'm gonna be buying it on both platforms, but let me know in the comments which platform you're planning to buy this game on between Steam and Switch, or if you're also part like me and just want to buy both so you can play the game on the go as well. I'm also very happy there's no microtransactions. I think that is very, very huge. You know, if it's like, if they do DLC for like sleeves and characters and playmats and stuff, then whatever. Like, that is fine to put under a paywall, because it doesn't add anything to the game, like, in that sense. Like, it doesn't add new cards or anything for a price. But if they add new cards, please do free updates, otherwise people will definitely mod the game. So yeah, I think that basically wraps up all the news we got. It dropped out of nowhere, and if we get more news, I'll definitely make another video, because I'm very excited about the game. We've been asking for a simulator for quite a while, and it's not exactly a simulator, but at least this is going to be a much more modern title than EX. And even then, like, looking at this, I kind of got hyped to play EX again, so I think it's time to boot it up sometime soon. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments what you think of the game so far and all the information we have. And if you like the video, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe, as we're getting closer and closer to that 50K goal. But anyway, that's me for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.